Hi everyone, just a heads up that for some reason my audio is a little bit balked, so you occasionally get me clipping out and in. Nothing I can do about that from editing, so apologies in advance. Well, see you in the show.
We're getting too good at this.
Stopped clock's right twice a day, right? And I almost said a stopped clock is right twice a day, which doesn't make sense.
That would be concerning.
I've had one sip of mead, and I'm already wrong wording.
I think that's a very philosophical interpretation of quantum mechanics. If you don't look
I'm
at the
just
clock,
going
maybe
to
it's
smile
rise.
and nod.
Maybe it's rise.
It's Schrodinger's clock. It's either a clock or ice until it is observed.
Or a cat.
Yes. Which may or may not be dead.
We are the science boys.
Pseudoscience for me, more really. Oh
I
dear.
can teach you about science.
I mean, it's a thing where I did well in at science in school, but that was so long ago that it's all left my brain because I don't use it. It's just I just
relearn.
Yeah, exactly. I can relearn, but also I don't know. At the moment, my life is code, so
Quantum
computer
mechanics.
science.
If you don't look at the mechanics, then they become plumbers. Quantum mechanics. I don't know.
Yep. Welcome to the Inconsolables, episode 259, coming out on November the 9th, Tuesday as always. My name is Andrew.
And if you look at me, I'm Sam. And if you don't, then I'm not Sam. But you can't look at me because this is an audio podcast and we're not streaming it. So
good luck with that.
Hi.
Well done.
I am someone. I'm the voice in your head.
The voice. Oh no, that's a whole thing.
I'm Andrew's internal monologue.
Oh jeez. Okay. No comment. Welcome.
You're a good boy, Andrew.
That's
and I'm
not
proud of you.
That's not my internal monologue in the slightest. Anyway, thank you though. Thank you. Mrs. L isn't here because she's getting a tattoo, and her booking happened to be at a poor timing, but she might be able to join us midway through.
Yes.
So we'll see how that goes.
Writhing in pain.
That's entirely possible too. I mean, Shay got a new tat the other week as well. She wasn't so much writhing in pain, but Shay's also generally good with that stuff.
I want to get a tattoo. My parents hate the concept, so I'm just like, oh, God.
So when you move out, the first thing you're going to do is get a tat, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
The problem is I've got like 5 different things that I want, and I can't decide which one.
That's a difficult one.
Yeah.
I've wanted a tat for a long time. I've had thoughts on what I wanted, but I have a tendency to like scratch it myself. So like until I can break that habit, I refuse to get a tat because I just tear it apart. You know.
What with like like itching?
Yeah, yeah, because it gets itchy. From what I understand during its healing. But I tend to scratch and
You need
stuff.
to get like a balm or something.
I tend to scratch at myself just out of anxiety and stuff too. So and bite the crap out of my nails.
I've got all kinds of like little scars of just like shit that I picked at.
Yeah, most of the scars I have are from McDonald's accidents, but that's a whole different story. Burning myself on the grill repeatedly because I never learned. Anyway, that's
fun.
A sidetrack. Let's get now good neutral game news, hey?
Good neutral game news.
Yes. So,
I got it in my bookmark so I could find it.
Beautiful. Well, I've got it open. So, you added this to the doc, but this excites me. It's probably more than it excites
so that's why
you.
I left it so you could color it in because I didn't even fucking look at it because I didn't give a shit.
Yeah. So, Game of the Year 2022 had its 15 minutes of gameplay this week. This is Elden Ring I am referring to, of course. And it looks so fucking cool.
You're referring to... Let me see if I can find something in my upcoming...
What's on to Rise on PC?
That's a good... No.
God of War on PC.
Ghostwire Tokyo? No.
I mean, that looked cool.
Dying Light 2?
It's not the Game of the Year. Come on.
The problem is all of them are just like TBA of just. Oh, actually, chorus. I'll put chorus up.
Yeah, okay. The correct answer is still Elden Ring.
Or whatever.
Anyway, they did their thing. They showed their 15 minutes or so of gameplay. The frustrating one for me was I didn't get to watch it until this morning, and I had a bunch of people going, "Have you watched it? Have you seen it yet? Have you seen it yet?" I'm like, no, I'm pulling 10 to 12-hour days at work. I have not had time to watch anything, thank you very much. But I did make a point of watching it this morning, and yes, I'm very happy.
And you had to clean up all the jizz covering the walls.
Quite possibly, yes.
Mm.
How did you know? That obvious, hey? It's basically...
You forgot to clean it off your chin. Anyway,
oh, shit. Well, basically, it's open world Dark Souls, pretty much, so it's kind of what I expected and wanted. It's a lot more fluid. Things seem to be a little bit faster paced than the prior games. There's now a dedicated button, much like they did in Sekiro, which is a funny one because I saw an opinion piece that's going, "Hey, Elden Ring's dedicated, like separated jump button is going to make or break the game." I'm like, mate, they already did Sekiro.
All right, that's...
They already did Sekiro and proved that they can do verticality and platforming, so, you know. The thing is, it's in the Souls games, your jump button was tied to sprinting. Like, you had to hold circle and move to start sprinting, and then with sprinting, if you let go and then tap circle, that would be your jump. It's really fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But the levels weren't designed to be really super vertical, or if they were, you know, staircases and ladders and things. It wasn't really about climbing around and terrain traversal. It was just like
an alternate way to kind of get around.
Yeah, and you could use it as... There were some points where you would need to jump from place to place, but usually, you know, you could just kind of fall, and if you had the right momentum when you were running in the place, you would land where you needed to be. Like, it was designed kind of with that limitation in mind. Since that limitation isn't there, we're seeing a lot of verticality in the open world and the bits that were showing. There were like lots of cliffs and things. You can ride a horse. In the original trailer, they had
Can the horse jump?
Yeah.
Like, how
possibly.
high?
Very. So in the trailer, the original trailer, they had a horse that jumped up a cliff. And you're just like, wait, what the hell? It turns out there's like these little wind spots that you like run into, and they'll just get...
Oh yeah,
up, so
I saw that. Yeah, what, didn't people intuit that? Did they literally think that the horse had like a 20-meter vertical leap or something?
I thought there might have been a scripted one. Like, I didn't see the little wind graphic in the original trailer.
Okay,
I was busy looking at all the other shinies. Anyway, that's been made more explicit and obvious. They've got these other seal things that are kind of like your bonfires in the previous games.
In your head, when the horsey jumped 20 meters, was there a kind of little Mario jump sound effect happening?
No, but there was a "what the fuck is that" going on there in my brain. But also could just be dumb brain, like
just happening.
Yeah, seems legit. They also showed off a couple of the NPCs you meet. There was one that is literally a giant pot with arms and legs. And you meet it stuck in a hole, and it asks you to unstick him. So, in the trailer, they smacked him with a club until he came loose. And he's the most polite NPC this side of Solaire, I think. I don't know.
It would be nice if they transitioned that into like a Dark Souls golf game or something.
I mean, there might be a Dark Souls mini golf game. Who knows? It didn't show any mini games, but that's never really been a thing. So, anyway,
are you expecting this is going to be the Yakuza version? It's open world.
Yeah,
you know,
Yakuza Souls.
Play with baby.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks a lot of fun. Lots of exploration. It looked like basically if you took Breath of the Wild and turned it into a Mii game, this is what you'd get. I think, honestly. They weren't climbing cliffs or anything like that, so they won't have the "it's raining, you can't play anymore" stuff. I would expect that they will
Weapon
still
degradation.
have. I suspect that the degradation will still be there because it's been in the Souls games for eternity, but it is much slower.
Wait, wasn't that like one of your main issues with?
My issue in Zelda was that you could get maybe 2 fights before your weapon shattered into 1,000,000 pieces.
Okay.
In the Souls games, you could get through a lot before it started to matter, and then you could repair it. It wouldn't shatter into 1,000,000 pieces. You could just repair it, or you have an item that you can carry on you to repair it with. So it never really became a showstopper. Meanwhile, Zelda, I killed 2 things and the Master Sword needed a nap. So... Like, I don't mind weapon degradation as a concept. I mind it when it's overblown and things break instantly.
Okay.
Like, yeah. It also has crafting and stuff in it. It looks like they were crafting ammo and things. I don't know how deep that's gonna go.
Is that new for the franchise?
Yep. Yeah, you would always have to find or buy your ammo in the past.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to go. I guess it makes sense with a transition to open world where you're not necessarily going to find a shop.
Do you think open world's a good choice?
I'm always concerned when something goes open world because I have permanent open world fatigue. So I have hope for it, being that it is the latest in a series from a developer I trust, and it's like.
Totally
Monster Hunter and Souls. Like Monster Hunter and Souls are like the two for me that like I will buy outright until they do something completely garbage, right?
Yeah,
so
it's like me and Nancy Drew.
Yeah,
Cool.
That's fair. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to it. It looks really cool. If you've got 15 minutes to spare and are even passingly interested, give it a look. No word on if there's anything like difficulty modes and stuff being added. I kind of suspect there won't be.
Because everyone get butthurt.
Everyone get butthurt either way, so it doesn't at this point just do it.
I feel like there'd be like a greater amount of butthurt from a thing changing than a thing staying the same. But sure.
Yeah, but every time a new FromSoft game comes out and this conversation comes up again, and the butthurt people on both sides, there are people who get angry at the mere mention of, hey, a Souls game should maybe have an easy mode, or the other one where it's like there was that famous one the other year about when someone beat Sekiro using a mod to slow the game down so they could get the timing on parries correct. And there's like that whole, you cheated not only the game but yourself, blah, 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 kind of came out of that.
Cunts.
Exactly, right? It's like, come on.
Get your shit together. Netflix.
Honestly, I'd be, just as a side note, I'd be all about them adding an easy mode, because then I get more people able to play the series I love.
Yeah.
More people to talk Souls with, come on.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I want to maybe get into it at some point. I don't know. Every time I look at it, I'm just like, I'm going to get like an hour into this and then just not be able to get anywhere and just be annoyed.
Well, let me know if you want to give it a go. I can try coaching you a bit.
Yeah, maybe.
I found that with a few people that kind of explaining how things work might help get over that hump.
Yeah.
Because it does take a bit to kind of for the game to click and actually, I really do enjoy this. So
maybe
that offer is on the table indefinitely.
Okay. We'll see. Netflix launched game streaming. I haven't looked super deep into this, primarily just because this is on Android at the moment. It's apparently going to be coming to iOS. I have heard that the games that they have are kind of crap. They've got they've got Stranger Things, which is okay, and then they've got shit that's just what if Candy Crush but poker hands, and what if basketball with a gun taped to it or something, which is just okay.
I mean, what if basketball but a gun taped to it? Sounds hilarious if a competent company got hold of that.
Well, I think literally the entire as far as I can tell, it's literally because we could be get it because we're shooting hoops. Okay, I like a good pun, but if your entire game design is what if we did a pun,
yeah,
not really into that.
I also feel like something like that would work really well for a Devolver published game.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It just kind of seems kind of meh.
Yeah.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things,
I haven't looked at them deeply.
Yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, they're always going to start out kind of basic. It's not like they were going to be fucking uploading, AAA games, but I don't know. Oh yeah, Arcane did come out on Netflix. I was interested in that, and then I was it's a League of Legends thing, and I was instantly less interested in it.
From what I've seen of it, it is heavily it's not anything to do with the game itself. It's just following a few of their characters over the story. Apparently, it's really good. Yeah, that's fair. I was adding that to the quick stories, but I guess we should do the rest of the quick stories since we already verbally mentioned it.
Speaking of Devolver, they're gone public. I think Sony's got a minority stake in them now.
Oh, interesting.
Which is interesting, even though it makes me kind of nervous of just okay, they're going to be
exclusives.
Well, I
think
didn't
they
mean
get
that. I was
that.
more worrying about like shareholders,
Yeah.
messing with shit.
I should buy shares in Devolver.
And then we could be like, you got to take out all the loot boxes, please. Please make less.
You can
money.
only pay with Devolver coin.
Yes. Oh my god. Yeah. I bet Ubisoft have kind of been pushing again because Activision Blizzard seems to be moving in the right direction. So they're just like, hey Ubisoft, what if we did that? What if we worked at making our company less shit? What about we tried getting back on that horse again? So maybe
let me guess, Ubisoft said no.
I mean, I don't think they fucking said anything. I think they were just like, just feeling out, whether or not we could start moving in that direction, giving official documents and shit.
That's a shame.
Yeah, and also apparently it's been 100 days and they haven't met any of the demands, so that'd be nice.
What a surprise.
It would be better. It Takes Two It Takes Two is already on Game Pass, and Forza Horizon 5 is coming to Game Pass, so you all have less of an excuse. It's a very good game.
Yeah, they did announce Forza Horizon 5 was coming to Game Pass at launch. It's already out for people who have paid for like the deluxe, but the Game Pass plebs have to wait until the the day this comes out.
We're getting haves and have-nots, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's
just like a 3 or 4 day early access for people who pay up for the deluxe version. That said,
is that like the ultimate, like where it's like for PC and console or something? Or is it like...
what? Oh no! It's for that version of buying Forza Horizon 5.
Oh, okay.
Like the collector's editions and stuff of Forza Horizon 5 comes with that
on the store.
Few days.
Yeah.
So you can, if you buy that, you can get straight into it. If you've just got any Game Pass and you're getting the standard edition, you get with that. You got to wait.
3 days behind on a game that I don't intend to play multiplayer of anyway.
It's like a game I'll play for a little bit and go, that's some pretty cars, and you're making my shiny graphics card do some difficult, pretty things. Yep. Anyway, that said, speaking of Forza Horizon 5, they've added on-screen sign language interpreters for their cinematics, which is a nice accessibility move. So, and I watched a little video of this. They literally have someone who kind of like fades in the corner, does their sign language stuff, and then kind of fades out when it's no longer relevant. So, cool. New accessibility thing. That should be something that's a bit more standard, I think.
Yep. I mean, Xbox, Microsoft... 100% are leading the charge in that kind of shit. So.
Yes, I think it's worth mentioning anytime they do something new because, like, that's a cool one. And that's actually, I don't think that difficult to do, right? Just get someone into sign language your scenes and then overlay that video. So, it just costs a bit of money to find an interpreter to do the camera stuff, but yeah.
Yep. There's a contest that was on Twitter called Pitch a Game. And it looks like it's got some interesting shit. I just wanted to put it out there. We'll probably return back to this in a couple of weeks when they actually announce the winners of the contest. But yeah, it was just people, essentially passing around GIFs and images of games they are working on and kind of doing a bit of a, all over Twitter kind of pitch thing. Which I think is especially important, given that like GDC and shit haven't happened.
Yeah, it's like just like an indie game love-in at the moment then.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Very exciting stuff.
Interestingly enough, Twitch has created a category specifically called Animals, Aquariums, and Zoos for your cutesy animal viewing needs. In the past, the people who were doing like animal streams and stuff had to kind of go under the science and technology branch just because it was like the closest thing they had. And there's actually been a petition that's been running for quite a while to kind of create their own thing because it was clogging up the science group as well as, making it hard for people to find their stuff. So that's a thing now.
What are the other stuff that people are doing in science, though? They're just doing, like, experiments or something?
I think some of them are just, like, science classes and stuff. I haven't really looked to it. Honestly, this whole thing...
Is there an education category? Maybe there should be an education category.
Possibly. I don't know. This whole thing came to me because I was watching the Dash Duck stuff, right?
Yeah,
and they were under science and technology, and I'm like, what's going on here? And they actually had like a link to the Twitch petition suggestions box site for, hey, create an animals category. And and I was getting sporadic email updates about that, and just this week it's been passed and it's now a thing.
Nice.
So there you go. Twitch listens sometimes.
Occasionally.
Occasionally.
When it suits their interests.
Yep. In less good but neutral quick news, Final Fantasy XIV's new expansion Endwalker has been delayed to December. The early access...
No.
I mean, it matters to people who aren't you, Sammy.
Sure. Good for them.
So, it matters to me. December 3 is the early access release. December 7 is the not-so-early access release.
Now they're both late access release. It's been delayed.
Yeah, it's just the game's ready by they're calling it the early access release, but basically it's if you pre-order you get a few extra days. If you just buy it on release day, then you get it on release day.
Get the late early access.
It's just their incentive to pre-order. Hey. They also released a huge amount of extra details and also a launch trailer. Some of the extra details they've released include information about the Australian servers, finally. The Australian data centre is planned to come next February. It's going to be called Materia, and then transferring to those servers are going to be free transfers for the first X time. So we can get the Australian community on servers that aren't gonna give us a half-second lag anytime we press a button in game. We don't have to predict how bosses are going to attack anymore.
So do you think there's going to be a period of having to make sure you're not swinging too early?
I think it's more of a period of adjusting to... Because usually the situation is they'll telegraph an AoE attack on the floor with a big circle, and it's like, okay, run out of the circle before it goes off and hits you. And a lot of people would, get that extra hit or two before running out of the circle. But being with the lag we can't afford to do that because we never know if we're quote-unquote actually out of the circle or not. So there's going to be that adjustment period and learning to be able to get those last hit or two in, and how much leeway we have now, because at the moment we have less than no leeway. So there's so many times when we're actually out of the thing on our screen and it goes, "No, you're dead now. You were in it, but your corpse isn't where the AoE was either." So the game doesn't. It's your lag is weird. Thank you, North America-centric server locations. It's America and Europe and Japanese servers. But of course, I went to the America server because people speak English. So the other one is we'll be able to find people on, a lot of people online in Australian prime time. So that's going to help a lot too for finding groups and stuff. Anyway, that's a thing.
Cool.
Moving on.
There's rumors of a Donkey Kong movie. And also Miyamoto has been suggesting that, that they're happy with the the Mario movie, so there might be more Nintendo movies. So I guess that would be what? Legend of Zelda, Kid Icarus, Kirby, whatever the fuck that would be.
Splatoon.
Would that be Super Size Me?
What, Kirby? Maybe.
Where it's just him going around... What are Kirby's pronouns? Kirby going around eating...
Yeah.
Eating a bunch
stuff.
of people. Yeah.
It'd be a horror film, Kirby eating people. Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, do that.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
And Metroid. Metroid would be alright.
Metroid could be a good one. Splatoon would be a funny one.
Wii Fit.
Ring Fit.
Wii Fit. Or Ring Fit, I guess.
Arms. Do you want to see an Arms movie?
Well, I want the fucking Arms comic that was cancelled.
Oh, they cancelled the comic?
Yeah, they cancelled it. Well, I think, that's the thing. There's so little information and so little people fucking talking about it that, they didn't even really need to cancel. They could have cancelled it by just not saying anything for, 10 years and having everyone just getting stringed along. But I think somebody,
Someone would have asked eventually.
Yeah, I don't think it was kind of official. I think it was just in a lineup, and then it was no longer in a lineup, and someone noticed. So it's probably
it's gone.
Dead. Yeah,
that's a shame.
Let's have a look.
All right. While you have a look at that, I'll get onto our other big good neutral. This one very much leans towards neutral.
It seems like it was cancelled March this year.
So, Blizzard's first female studio co-head has stepped down this week. Well done, Blizzard. So her name's Jen O'Neill. She took over the role alongside
3 months ago.
Yep, alongside Mike Ibarra when a Mr. J. Allen Brack stepped down. for the rest of the year, she's going to be working, still working for ActiBliz, but in an unspecified role somewhere, and then afterwards she's going to be departing BK entirely. So that's a thing. A quote from her is, "I am doing this not because I am without hope for Blizzard, quite the opposite. This energy has inspired me to step out and explore how I can do more to have games and diversity intersect, and hope to make a broader industry impact that will benefit Blizzard and other studios as well." So that's a whole thing. Activision Blizzard is going to be donating $1 million dues to the Women in Games International Fund in the wake of her departure. I'm not sure. I mean, there's obviously the link of, like, their only sort of female super high-ranking person stepping down there, but I still wonder what's prompting that action.
Interesting. I wonder.
Anyway, this was also announced during a shareholder meeting, where they also announced delays for Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4. Probably to wait till all of this stuff that they're dealing with blows over to sell copies. That's my extremely cynical take on it.
Yeah. Naughty corner.
Naughty corner.
So, the Turkish government is investigating Twitch because apparently there are some Twitch streamers that are involved in doing some money laundering. So that's fun.
Not it. Just saying that now.
This ain't it, Chief.
No, not me.
What?
You said there's some Twitch streamers doing money laundering. I said not me.
Well, I said Turkish for start, so, you know. It's
the Turkish government investigating. It doesn't have to be a Turkish streamer.
Okay, let me start
Probably
this over.
A Turkish streamer.
The Turkish government is investigating streamers, apparently a lot of which are Turkish, for being involved in money laundering. And also, you can't prove that Andrew is doing money laundering, okay?
Yes. The only money laundering I do is forgetting to take money out of my pockets.
Very good.
But I wash my pants.
Very good joke.
Yes.
So, apparently the way that this works is kind of similar to the way, you know, money laundering happens on G2A, if you believe that, which we do. Because,
I 100% do.
Yeah, 100%. Basically, hackers will get credit card informations, and they will set up an agreement with smaller streamers where they will cheer, they will use bits, they will cheer bits, which if you don't use Twitch probably doesn't make a lot of fucking sense to you. It's just a little, like a little tip, essentially. It's essentially a tip. And essentially the deal will be with them that, they'll do the tips and everything, and doing like consistently or whatever. If you transfer, a large portion of that to, these bank accounts kind of thing. And thus, that's kind of how money laundering works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't look as shady. And then, I don't know exactly what the go is in terms of, like, if they get chargebacks or something, like how that would work, because surely the streamer might get screwed over by that.
The way bits works, though, when you buy bits on Twitch, you've bought them up front and Twitch has your money already, and they've already taken their cut. So chargebacks would probably have to happen before you spend the bits, right?
Yeah,
because...
but then like if enough But surely Twitch would lose out in that circumstance, and like I find it hard to believe that the Turkish government would need to be like, hey, maybe you should investigate this thing that, is also fucking over your business. Like they'd probably be like, we're gonna get on that shit.
That's what I'm saying, is because like if a user buys bits, they buy that money goes to Twitch, but then Twitch gives that money to the streamer when the streamer gets the bits. But like unlike a sub where Twitch takes 50% at the time of the sub, Twitch takes a cut at the time you buy the bits. Because one bit is worth 1 cent US when you get.
Yeah, but what happens with the chargebacks though?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know how chargebacks work with bits, because chargebacks happen semi-frequent with like regular donations and subs, but with bits, that's I think a much more complicated case. Because it's like you bought more currency.
I don't know.
Because bits is just a Twitch currency, right? So you bought your bits currency, and then I've spent those bits throwing them at this string here. So, yeah, it's a weird one. Like,
Yeah.
without chargebacks, I see how the rest of that system works, right? Because it's like, I cheered you 200 bits once a stream, and that's $2 American, and so you throw me back $1.80 or something, right?
I don't know.
So, I don't know. Whatever. Let's move on.
EA is getting into fucking NFTs. It kind of seems like this is just, and I think Take-Two even said that they're fucking wanting to get into NFTs. So it seems like this is it. We found a new bullshit monetization. Grift. I mean, like, in a sense, like, it kind of makes sense that this is fucking happening. Like, I mean, you know, we've spent, you know, a good chunk of lockdown, you know, inventing a system in which, you know, this very nice JPEG that has my name on it can, you know, cost like however many million in crypto. It's fucking unhinged, and you know, all the people said, well, we work people to the bone making very nice JPEGs with our name on it, so like, why don't we somehow get involved in that? I don't know what the fuck it involves. Like, it kind of seems like you have to like earn, like, I'm assuming that it's like some bullshit where it's like, what, like mining Bitcoin or some shit to make money, and then some of that money, you know, you get to spend on like a skin or whatever the fuck. Like,
I don't know how you would link the NFT blockchain stuff to games. I don't understand the blockchain stuff well enough. All I know is that it's a grift and it's destroying our environment as well because of the sheer amount of power you need to handle blockchain shit.
Yeah,
So,
I don't know.
You know, that's a whole
depressing.
That's a whole situation.
Yeah, they're just completely flopped. And speaking of flop, PGA Tour is getting delayed.
Hey,
it's funny because that's a kind of shot, I guess. That's sort of a joke.
Yeah.
That was like 60% intentionally a joke.
Yep. Okay. I'm just washing hard on that one. All right.
We're gonna put it in the bank.
Sure. Speaking of flops,
Avengers. Of things that are no longer on my hard drive.
Hey, I was about to take a sip of mead, you bastard. That one was good.
I mean, are you sure about that?
I'm still taking a sip of my mead.
Talk about Chip. Marvel's Avengers is getting rid of... I just love doing anti-jokes sometimes. Marvel's Avengers is getting rid of EXP boosters.
Yay.
Which, yeah, that's a good idea.
Have they solved the problem they caused to be able to sell the XP boosters and tone down the amount you need to level up? Or did they just make the game a bigger grind?
I don't know. I don't really care. Like, you know, they can do whatever. I mean, people are just, you know, annoyed at it because, like, it was kind of one of those, you know, awkward moments where I think it was like at E3, they were just like, we're never gonna charge for any kind of pay to win. And then, like, however many months later,
it wasn't like, even that long.
This game is like an absolute flop and no one wants to play it. Put more monetization in. They'll bring them in.
Yeah, because people want to throw their money in a giant hole.
Yeah. In fact, it's gotten so bad that the execs have officially stated that the Avengers was a disappointing outcome.
It took them a while to figure that one out.
I'm so sad. Truly, it's a tragedy. And also, just as a quick reminder, end of the month, we're getting Spider-Man, and by we're, I mean like the people who got it on PlayStation, and only the people that got it on PlayStation. So,
yep, that was the exclusive thing. That's what, a full year later now, right?
I don't fucking know. It feels like it's been like 3 years since that.
Yeah, but we're also at this point where we're at a point where every year feels like 3 years. So
yeah. I'm looking forward to 2020 starting in a few months.
Oh dear.
We could just condense those 2 years into, you know, like the fucking second between New Year's and New Year's Day.
Yeah. Seems legit. So Squid Game, that TV show on the Netflix that people seem to enjoy.
Yeah, I still need to watch that.
I haven't watched it and I don't plan on it. I don't care, to be honest.
It's one of those things where, like, I'm really annoyed by it because I don't even remember. I've seen, like, so many like at least trailers or maybe like recaps or stuff of Korean horror films of people playing children's games. Like, I don't know why this one specifically is the only one that everybody knows about.
I mean, it got to Netflix, that's probably a solid start, right?
That doesn't mean shit.
I know it doesn't mean shit, but if it got pushed by Netflix, that means people start to watch it, etc. Like, it's
I mean, I've seen
something has to get that attention to start the algorithms rolling, right?
I've seen ones that look like Squid Game, but look way better. Like, there's one that has, like, the red light, green light, but it has it with one of those, like, children's toys with, like, the demon face on it.
Oh, okay.
And it just spins around. Like the face on the inanimate object spins and talks and shit. And I'm just like, that looks way cooler than, you know, a random doll that, like, turns around and looks at you. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Regardless,
people have bad taste.
Anyway, regardless, so you're annoyed by Squid Game.
I have good taste.
Someone else who's annoyed by Squid Game is a streamer by the name of Lydia Ellery. The reason she's annoyed at Squid Game is because her Twitch handle for the last 10 years has been Squid Game. And now people are harassing her and sending her abusive messages because they're thinking that she stole the name from the show to get big, rather than, you know, like that she's been around with that handle for a long time.
Interesting.
So the whole, and because they're like, oh, you're squatting on the social media things. No, she's actually been legitimately using this as her gaming handle. She picked the handle because it sounded silly. Her Twitter is Squid Gaming.
I find it... I mean, firstly, why just go to hate? Why be like, oh, you're getting clout and I'm going to kill you for that? Like,
because
chill
people
the fuck
suck.
out.
It's
like,
people suck.
People fucking, like, scum off, like, other people's success all the time, even if that isn't what happened here. Like, yeah.
And anyway,
welcome to capitalism.
The other frustrating one is she actually lost 2 work opportunities recently for, like, presenting stuff because of the association with the show. Because if someone hires her and she presents a show and the name is Squid, people just think that they're jumping on that train rather than, you know, the personality behind it, behind the streamer, right?
That's dumb.
It's dumb, but happened. So she's actually considering changing her Twitter handle, her Twitch, her entire online persona's name and branding because Squid Game, a Netflix TV show, came out.
God, that's such a moon logic. That's like, I'm trying to think of like one of those many stupid, like, what was it, like fucking 4 or 5 seconds came out and like, oh, isn't it nice that Rihanna and is platforming this new up and coming artist Paul McCartney. Like, it's that kind of logic of just like, you copied them. It's like, actually, the person that you're saying copied did it like 20 years ago, so shut the fuck up. Like, do any amount of research, maybe?
On a semi-similar note, there's like a recent thing that cropped up about Facebook naming themselves to Meta, or at least the parent company, but there's another company already named Meta, and they're fighting over the name. If
only someone had Googled. Like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. But that's and apparently they've been trying to bully the pre-existing Meta company to sell the name for a while, and they gone no, and now there's all this shit going on between them. And
so
I'm
stupid.
the one that pisses me off is that Facebook will probably win because they're a big company and have money. Yeah, it's like, what, this other company existed. That's why I stopped calling it Meta, so I don't confuse it between Meta and actual Meta.
Yeah, Meta is also just such a wanky name.
Agreed. Alright, tell me about eFootball.
eFootball, like, in a hilarious move, has decided to delay their update, which I just find so hilarious. Like, it's hilarious, you know, that they're even trying to update it as if, like, people are going to play it. Like, I think there are probably some people who are just like, you know, oh, it's free and it's, you know, passable. But, like, also...
do we know what was in the update?
Also passable. I mean, I don't fucking know. Hopefully, you know, some kind of pray to Jesus, you know, maybe some kind of like Sumerian texts or something, you know, hoping for a good harvest or something, because they're going to need some kind of fucking miracle to get people to play this.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't fucking know. I imagine at least, some kind of, filter that uncanny valleys, the models would be nice. That,
Oh yeah, I mean, if it was a bunch of new graphics in an update, like that's entirely doable. It'd be a big update, but it's possible.
yeah.
And so I'm
But
like, I'm
just,
wondering, is it an update that fixes a game, or are they cyberpunking it, right?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I don't care.
All right.
Fuck 'em. I'm
Well,
just here to dunk on Konami and then leave immediately.
okay. Well, let's leave immediately. Video
Bye.
games. What we played it.
I played like a bunch of shit. Admittedly, the one that I played the most of, I can't talk about because embargo.
That's always the way now, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, well, I can talk about one that just finished embargo, which was Where Cards Fall, which hilariously I didn't realize until like basically I was submitting it that this is a port of like an iPhone game, and I was just like,
Oh.
yeah, I do kind of remember seeing this one on Apple Arcade. It's like I
What
think
is it? Let's start with what is it?
so it's odd. It's a puzzle game that kind of has the vibe of a platformer, but it's not actually really a platformer. It's kind of more like there was this interesting tag that I saw that's like a Japanese word that's kind of for a genre where it's like the moving boxes around genre, like those kinds of puzzles where you have like a dungeon and you've got to move the crates around
Yeah.
and navigate
okay.
around. It's kind of, I kind of get where they're coming from in that. It's essentially an isometric kind of grid thing where you've got like these little like things. It's weird. It's one of those things where I very much recommend having a look at the actual thing. But it's like you're building these houses of cards that let you traverse through these levels. So,
Okay.
you're building like a house and then you're walking across that so you can jump over to this other little, platform over here, and then you can put another one on top of it, and now you've got one that's tall enough that you can jump from this one to that one kind of thing. And I think it's genuinely like fairly good like puzzle stuff. It's just like everything around it is kind of shit in my opinion. Like
Oh.
the yeah, so for example, the story I just really don't like because it's just so here's what it is. It's an abstract and metaphorical narrative about looking back on the past and having metaphors about mental illness and depression and regret. And I'm just like, okay, so what you're saying is that your game is Seas of Solitude and or Gree and or What Remains of Edith Finch and or The Beginner's Guide. I'm just like, there are a lot of
etc. Yeah.
there are a lot of indie games that go for that vibe, and that the thing is, some of those games I mentioned, I fucking love. I fucking love The Beginner's Guide. I fucking
Yep.
love What Remains of Edith Finch. The
Yep.
thing is, what makes those games exciting is, having really interesting visual metaphors and having like these really deep, intricate conversations that are going on between characters. In this one, first of all the characters are speaking in gibberish, so not a good start.
Good start. Yep. Good start.
They're presented entirely in vignettes, with the exception of like when you're doing levels, like your character might be dressed differently. So it's like, okay,
Cool.
yeah, it just like it doesn't have a lot of shit that interests me because it's just they're just kind of wittering on about like nothing, and I'm not interested in engaging with that. And it also, like, because it's doing it in vignettes, it's doing it at the end of each level. So like, I started playing this game and I got through all the levels really quickly. But like, it would be like, like, oh man, like I did like a little bit of, that puzzle. Let me do another. Oh no, we gotta like sit and
go through
watch
the
a
vignette.
scene.
Yep.
And like, some of the scenes are fucking dumb. My personal favorite is like near the end of the game. There's a scene where a guy like picks up a box and kind of like looks at it and then he puts it down. I'm just like, oh, cool. So that was like the reward for me getting through that last level was a guy picking up a box and putting it down. Like, I get
So
how
basically that Death Stranding trailer.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I kind of get where, like, shit like that fits into it, but it's just, like, it's so vague, and I'm so completely not interested in the story,
Yeah.
and there's nothing added in that could get my interest back, that it's just like, why? Presentation, I think, is cool for the game, maybe not so much for the scenes. Having said that, later on, I started to just fully get into like isometric issues of just like, okay, I've beaten the level and then I'm like a level too low. Or I've beaten the level but I'm like one space too far away to jump the gap kind of thing.
Okay.
And it was just like, I'm just tired and I want this to be over. Can we just like finish? And the game's like, no.
Nope. Cannot.
Yeah. Even restarting the thing, you can't even like you can't properly skip the cutscenes.
Oh no.
The best you can do is like, oh, I've gotten to the end of the level, and instead of walking to the ending, which I can do, I just go level select and just click on the next one. It's just like, come on, guys, like you could do better than that.
How much of that do you think is because it was a mobile game first being ported?
I mean, I'd honestly forgive it more somewhat if I was playing it as a mobile game, but then again, it would be more of a, I'm just playing it, you know, for 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there, as opposed to playing for like fucking 6 hours in a row.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was more intended to be done in bite-sized chunks.
Yeah, but I mean, either way, like it just like as a product, like I'll straight up say the middle bit of it where it hits like a good difficulty, I really like. In part because it just distracts from the shit that I don't care about. Yeah. But at the start, when I'm moving through it quickly, in quotation marks, in that I'm finishing a level and then the brakes slam for another scene, and then I finish a level and then brakes, you know, that sucked. And when it's like super long and pedantic and basically a sliding tile puzzle level of frustration, I was like, not here for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the middle bit is like, okay, you know, I mean, I gave it like a 6. Like, it's not terrible, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah,
personally.
Fair enough. I didn't play very much this week. I played a lot of the.
Taking over this shit.
I played a lot of the overtime game, which is not a fun game that anyone should play.
Okay, what is that?
That is the one where you spend too long doing work.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant it was literally a job.
I was literally working overtime at work.
Cool.
Like, I did like 10
You're playing the capitalist game.
I was playing the capitalist game, yeah. I was doing like 10 to 12 hour days this week, and I maybe needed to do overtime for most of the rest of the year, depending on how poorly the next couple of weeks go in this project. So, so that's what one of the many reasons my mental state is non-existent right now.
Well, did you have a chance to watch any wrestling or anything to
I've played a bit of Final Fantasy XIV. I am still up to date on my AEW wrestling. I caught up on that today as well. So, like, I've gotten some time to chill up, but, like, I skipped Axes all week, that kind of stuff. So it's been a rough week. So, in terms of video games, I played a little bit of Jackbox with you guys for Mrs. L's birthday the other day.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah. I really like... Well, I only played, 2 different games of the pack, right?
So, Weapons Drawn and the Pole
Miner. Out of those 2, Pole Miner is definitely the better one. That said...
the other one's a bit rough if, like, people could clock your things like I did.
I can't draw for shit, so, like, I'm already at a disadvantage. So in Weapons Drawn, you get given, like, you've got to, like, murder people, and you've got to draw your weapon that you did it with, but you've got a calling card, which is a letter from your name. And they just... You get to, like, rotate and move it, and then you've got, like, draw to kind of incorporate it into art. But it seemed no matter what I did, it was super obvious.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's also a bit easier when it's a smaller group, I imagine, because, like, I haven't played it, but I've watched people play it in, like, 10, in, like, a group of 10, and, like, it's definitely a bit more challenging than that.
I guess because you've got the same amount of time to try and look over 10 people rather than 3 or 4, right? So, yeah, but also, like, I have never been good at art, so trying to, draw that some kind of even lines up with the drawing of the letters that they've given me to hide that and other letters in it to kind of try and throw people off the trail. Just didn't work.
I mean, it's just challenging generally with some of that shit. Like, I got one that was like anxiety, like draw anxiety, and I also got like a giant, like obvious A, and I was like, fuck. So,
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know about that one. Paul was interesting because you're like ranking things and then trying to figure out how other people ranked things and guess how they kind of aggregated, and the person putting something first but no one else voting for it still got it way up the chart. Though again, we were with 4 people, so that like would make sense mathematically. No, I liked Paul Miner. That was good. I don't know about I'm not so sure about weapons drawn, but I definitely enjoyed Paul Miner.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of art, I will do this one very quickly so I can get to the more important one that people probably care more about. But yeah, I've been playing such art a little bit on stream. I've been having a good time with it. It's literally just like one of those job simulatory kind of games, except with art. So it's just like, here's a canvas, here's a brush, here's like, you know, some other crap that you generally don't do art with. But here you go, you can do art with it. Here's a mop, and you covered it in paint, so now you can use that as a brush now. And you can also just get paint on all the walls and shit and generally make a mess. But I've made some pretty cool shit. I'm contemplating doing one of those monthly courses, because I've got a monthly subscription a while ago, because I was just like, it's like way cheaper because you've already bought stuff. So I'm like, I'm gonna do like an art one or something, because I'm just like, I'm so inspired, but I'm just basically like, I need something to do. So I might get one of those, you know, as inspired by this. But to go to the Wade Media one, I've been playing a little bit of Guardians of the Galaxy, which I'm jazzed about.
How is it? Because I keep hearing it's a lot better than I thought it would be.
I mean, I generally like it. I think, you know, my opinion is going to very much line up with the consensus of, like, I think the writing's good, I think the characters are good, I think the, you know, environments are pretty cool, but the combat is, like, meh. Admittedly, I'm saying that, you know, with only 2 chapters of experience, which even then is like feels like a bit of a misnomer, because the second chapter I cleared in like half an hour before we started recording.
Yeah, and the first chapter would be the tutorial, right? So...
Yeah, but I mean, like, it, you know, you actually do kind of more combat-y things, whereas the second one is kind of feels more like an episode of Life is Strange.
Okay, so it's not like a tutorial wrapped into a bit larger level. It's like, okay, the first portion was tutorial and then it's just a level then, or...
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a bit of both. Like, it's, you know, it's not like you're doing like the Halo thing where they just like, look at the lights, you figured out how to move the thing around. Yeah. No, it's a bit of both, but it, you know, feels like it's to a certain extent representative of like what's going to be going on. I mean, I think it is worth noting that there are more mechanics and upgrades that you can get that will factor into the gameplay, and I very much feel the need to point that out, because I thought like the combat was fucking crap, and then they kind of give you like a little bit of something extra. They give you like an auto cooldown thing. Basically, your main weapons are, you know, just dual blasters, and you just hold down the left mouse button to shoot.
Daka, 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 daka.
Daka, 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 which is, you know, why I kind of feel like, at least on like the most kind of foundation level, it's a bit meh. But, you know, then they give you an upgrade where it's like, when you use up all your ammo, because you use up all your ammo and then like you have a cooldown if you go too far. So, you know, that kind of, I don't know. I don't love that, because it kind of means like I was constantly like looking back and forth at my ammo, which...
Can the Lord not just punch someone?
Well, you can do melee as well, but it's, you know, also like if you're doing that, you're probably, you know, putting yourself in danger doing that too much. Sure,
but it's just one of those, if you're out of ammo, like something while you wait for the cooldown, right?
Yeah, but it is also just like, you know, I'd rather either A, you know, be able to reload, or B, not have to be like staring at my thing to make sure I don't go over the thing.
I guess he is just a random human with like with some text, so...
Yeah. But the thing is, they have this auto cooldown thing where, like, if you overheat it, you can intentionally overheat it, and as it's cooling down, there's like a green bar, and if you tap it again at the right time, then it will just instantly reset, and you can go straight off again.
Oh, it's like the
It's like
active reload from Gears.
Sure, I don't know. Yeah,
Well, the active reload is you'll reload. You've got the bar. You hit the button again in that, and you'll reload quicker, and your first shot will be more powerful. So it's like a similar concept.
yeah. They've also got other shit where they've just got, like, all the characters can do, one super move. You've got Groot who can do crowd control and, just do some vines to stop everyone moving. Gamora can basically get a free kill. Rocket can throw a grenade, kind of shit. I do feel like there's a couple too many buttons when it comes to that. Like, it's, if you want to, do someone's move, it's like shift and then like one of the four numbers, like
I
twice.
was about to ask what platform you're playing it on, but that means PC. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it could. Well, I will say I haven't tried it with controller. I might try it with controller because, and before you fucking say anything, it would work with controller because
I imagine it would.
yeah, because there is, like, on the computer at least, there is left mouse button to, and also I meant, like, it will work well for you also.
Oh, like for my crappy aiming. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, because while I don't know what it is on controller, on computer it is left to fire and it is right to lock on.
Ah, yes.
And you can use the scroll wheel to
like change
move
targets.
From...
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay,
I imagine
so I was
if
gonna
there's
say, from like the trailers, what I'd seen, it does look like a game that will work really well on controller, despite my third-person shooter failiness, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, I've only done it on keyboard, but like I imagine if it's anything like that, it'll work fine on this. And maybe there's like a press the directional thing to fire off this person's ultimate.
Yeah, I feel like D-pads would probably be your quad ordering thing.
Yeah, so I'll probably try that later on.
Yeah.
Anything else? I mean, yeah, as I said, the writing's good. I mean, there was a moment early on that I think illustrates like shit like that, where like they're talking about their first mission, which is we've got to lure out this monster that we're going to hunt, and then we're going to present it to Lady Hellbender, I believe. Yeah. So you're talking to Rocket. You're like, are you sure that this little thing that's just going beep 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 is really gonna get this monster's attention, get them out of the open? He's like, well, actually, yeah, of course it totally is. It's gonna make all this noise, and the noise is more like wah, wah, wah. And then like fucking Drax and Gamora just rush in. It's just like, what the fuck? Shut the hell up! And I was just like, oh, I get it, because like it did bring them because of all the noise. Like that's it. And that's like a dumb little joke. It's not like I was like fucking pissing myself, but it's also just like that's like better writing than a lot of games right there.
Yeah, that's just like a little bit of a chuck for me.
Yeah, like a little bit of fridge humor in there. So yeah, I think the writing is generally good. It seems way more focused on like the conversations and stuff. Like it feels, like if Life is Strange is like a 0 and like fucking Dark Souls or whatever is a 10, like it feels like a what?
I'm just like, what scale is this for the amount of...
Okay, fine. Life.
I'm just confused by...
talking versus like gameplay challenge.
Okay, talk versus action. All right, cool.
Yeah, I'd say that like, so 0 is Life is Strange, 10 is like Dark Souls or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd say that this is kind of like more of like a 3, so it's like a bit more angled towards, like, as I said,
there's a lot of chatter.
Yeah, as I said, like the second chapter is basically just like talking with like a little bit of walking stuff in the middle.
Yeah, okay. It's like plot time.
Yeah, there's like player choices and stuff. And I don't know, it's just like got like a good amount of like personality and shit. So like I'm really into it, and it looks fucking gorgeous. At least the first chapter did. The second one was like, it's all right, but like first one was like,
I mean, if you're wandering around a spaceship that's talking to people or whatever, it's always going to look a bit less interesting than an alien planet, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm kind of interested in what they're going with. And I really like these versions of the characters. Like everyone was like going like, oh god, is this going to be like Marvel's Avengers where it's all the stunt doubles? And just like, I don't know, I don't really feel like that's the vibe I'm getting from this. Like it's similar.
I mean, even with Avengers, it was closer to the comic books than the movies, right? And I think that's one of the problems people had. Is they're like, oh, it's the Avengers. It's got to be fucking Robert Downey Jr. and, I don't know, what's his face, Chris Pratt, and what's her, it's got to be the actors. It's like, well, no, they've been comic books for a much longer time than they were movies.
Yeah.
And then they got voice actors who are actually voice actors as opposed to Hollywood people who you've shoved a microphone in front of. So,
And I mean, the vibe I get is similar to that, where it kind of feels like both of these are drawing from the same source, but it's not like adapting,
one or the other. It's its own thing, right?
Yeah. Like I kind of, get the vibe of like Star-Lord being, like this like dorky kind of like, joking around and shit kind of dude, but he's also like a little bit more endearing than like the Chris Pratt version.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I'd have to play it to find out, and I think I'm interested, but I still don't think I'll get it soon, aside from the fact that Final Fantasy 14 addiction is fucking hardcore. But also, get a little bit cheaper. We'll get it at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty fun. Like, I mean, I could maybe see an argument for the Avengers having better, like, foundation of combat, but I think overall the entire building up of everything is way better. They have what is it, the fucking huddle, where you can just call everyone together, and they'll literally do just like, here's a dialogue choice, and if you do it good, then like everyone gets like the pep talk is successful, everyone gets a boost, and if you fail, then you just get a boost. And then they also just go, and we're also going to play a licensed 80s track now.
That's going to go really well for streamers.
Oh yeah, I mean that's why I'm not streaming it, because like I not only because like I think they have a streamer mode, but I was also just like,
you'd lose a lot of the feel of a Guardians game though. Like that's I mean ever since the intro to the first Guardians of the Galaxy MCU, right? It's like, okay, we're gonna have this amazing licensed 80s soundtrack. That's gonna be a big draw of the feeling for it, right?
They've got some solid songs too. Also, hilariously, I saw a video of someone failing like the first huddle, and then like after they fail and everyone's like, God, you're such an idiot, like fucking never gonna give you up, just rolls in. It's
my
God.
Wow,
that is so horrific. Traumatizing.
That's brilliant.
Good God.
I remember seeing a thing on Twitter, just on the licensed music and streamer situation. I remember seeing a thing on Twitter a while, maybe like a week or two, where Back for Blood had some jukeboxes playing licensed music. And if you turn the music in-game off to be able to do stream things, that doesn't turn off because it's considered a sound effect.
Oh, that's
and people
dumb.
were getting DMCA strikes over Back for Blood. It just reminded me of that when you're like, licensed music.
Yeah.
That's a whole thing.
I think what we need, like, as much as I'm trying to think, like obviously when it comes to streamer mode, like we also need to have like shit in it where like you can skip like cutscenes or something. Like I remember hearing, and this is the other game that I really want to play that I'm not going to fucking stream as much as I want to.
Sure.
Is Life is Strange, because like apparently they still have like the full scenes where like a song will play.
Oh, even in the cutscenes.
Yeah, so it would just be like the main character, I think her name's Alex, just, like fucking, twiddling her thumbs as nothing happens for like 3 minutes. And it's just like, really? Like you couldn't go like, you couldn't give like an option to be like, do you want to skip this or something?
Yeah.
I mean, there probably is. You could probably just like hammer on escape enough times.
Probably like
or something.
skip the cutscene, but you also don't know if it's going to be an important cutscene leading into it, right? So
yeah,
and then you watch it for 3 minutes of someone twiddling their thumbs. It's like, oh, whoops.
I also would just love if like even if like you don't play the song to just tell us that the song would be playing.
That'd
So
be
I
a good
can
one.
go.
You're like in like your closed captions, even. Yeah, just like
Yeah.
"Never Gonna Give You Up" by Rick Astley plays, and then the streamer
Yeah.
mode it either just doesn't, or you have some kind of crappy cover stand-in. Maybe
Yeah.
a bad recorder cover if you wanted to go
Well,
funny with it.
I will say, I believe, I'm not sure, like, of the specifics or something, but I believe that they have sort of like an alternative in that when you start up the game, you start as like, child Peter Quill doing a flashback, all that jazz. And he's listening to like an album by a band called Star Lord. I'm just like, I don't know if it necessarily could like obviously like emotionally it couldn't, but I don't know if like programmatically you could put the Star Lord stuff to play instead, because I did see that there's like a jukebox in the
Yeah.
ship where you have like all the 80s songs and then you have like the Star Lord shit.
I mean,
it's actually not bad.
I mean,
music,
just
honestly.
have a streamer mode that replaces it with something else. That's not that difficult. I mean, of all the games to bring up as a good example, this is a different thing
Fuser.
from this doesn't really fit for licensed music, but there's a content creator mode for Warframe, and
Okay.
in Warframe when you've got that on. There's a story point when you're playing the plot of that where things change hugely, and it like your character you actually get to have a character creation moment for your when you're not in your robot suit. Spoilers for Warframe.
Where you become Rick Astley.
No, you actually get to create a character, but you've also got like a bunch of other stuff happens, a bunch of other plot stuff, and the pop-up faces come up when they talk to you are completely different. Some of them are like robotized and all that kind of stuff as a result of stuff that happens in the plot. But if you put and it's changed forever from that point forward, no matter what mission you're playing. But if you put content creator mode, it reverts it to the original, so it doesn't like spoil people who are watching on streams and stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's like a spoiler avoidance one. Plus, it also kind of just goes, "Hey, here's a cutscene that's going to like spoil your viewers. We're going to skip this. Come back to this thing if you want to rewatch this offline. Turn this mode off, or like maybe even a YN. Do you want to?"
Yeah.
They even, I mean, even the Bennett Foddy game, the pot guy,
Yeah.
has the ending. It's like if you're streaming this, hit this button to not show the ending.
Yeah.
It's like it's not difficult on a programmatic level to have stuff like that.
It is interesting to see how games are changing to like either incorporate or like avoid spoilers or something. Whether it's something as simple as like, for example, the Forgotten City made a point of being like, don't stream past the white hallway, which was interesting because I was like, oh no, or they were like, either don't stream past or at least say that there's spoilers. And I was like, oh no, I'm at the spoilers part. And I later realized that I was absolutely fucking not at the spoilers part is like literally like the last like
it's like
5
the
minutes
ending
of the game kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's just like, okay.
It's interesting because some companies will take it one way like that, right? It's like don't show them the ending or let them know that it's a thing or the ending, or we've got the toggle where you can turn that stuff kind of on and off. And then you look at something with like say Atlas with Persona 5 where they're like, if you stream beyond this point we will DMCA die. You. It's like, what the fuck? It's like free promo for your game. Like, come on. And also, if you look at like the PlayStation, if you stream off the PlayStation with the share button, they've got the blocked scene stuff, which will just block out what's being streamed and just show like a broken camera. And usually, it's like if you're going through your messages or doing your part, like opening your party or in your menus and stuff, that's all blocked scenes. But developers can mark scenes as blocked as well in game. And so, for example, Final Fantasy 15, the title screen changes when you finish the game as like a nod to the ending, and then when you go back in to continue and do the rest of the open world stuff, that title screen is marked as a blocked scene if you have finished the game, and if you haven't, it's not. So you'll just get this broken screen appearing on streams if you're trying to stream that section until you load in. But some companies are super militant on it too. It's like, okay, this is a cutscene. We're blocking the entire cutscene. You're only allowed to show gameplay. Of course, all of that's circumvented if you're using a capture card, but like nice inbuilt one button. Some devs have done it really well. Some devs aggressively done it. Just like, nah, at this point, everything's off limits. It's weird.
Yeah, people are extra.
It's hard to get consistency there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a tangent.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got any wire?
I was going to say I could talk about FF14 if you want. Or not. Either way.
I thought
I kind of talked about Jackbox instead.
Sure.
I mean, I haven't really done anything. Oh, I got my special crafters mount this week. So there's there are a few mounts that you can only unlock through certain ways. Well, no, there's some mounts you can only unlock through certain methods, and this one I've unlocked through doing the random crafting stuff in a place called the Firmament. Is the mount is called Ufiti, and it's a giant gorilla that just like cradles you.
Lots of feet.
It's just its name, Ufiti, but it's just a giant gorilla that just kind of like cradles you in its arms. It's amazing, and I've worked very hard to unlock it, and I unlocked it yesterday. It's like this terrifyingly strong-looking gorilla, but it's like just like gently carry. It's like you kind of sit, you kind of like sit in its palm. Yeah, it's very King Kong. It's great. But also, because all the mounts in the game can fly once you've unlocked flight, you now have a flying giant monkey. It's it's weird. It's great, and that's exactly why I was unlocking it, because it's freaking bizarre.
Yeah,
worth every second of grind for that one. I've also did a bunch of PvP yesterday because I hate myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also the delay to Endwalker means that they've got an event running at the moment for to unlock stuff called Moogle Tombstones, which you can turn in for like rarer loots. And it's like run certain dungeons, do PvP battles, a specific dungeon called the Praetorium that everyone hates because it's basically a 40-minute unskippable cutscene with a few combat sequences in between. And they said when they enabled that event a couple of weeks ago, they're like, yep, this is going to be running all the way up until 6.0 when Endwalker releases. Endwalker's been delayed 2 weeks, so people have 2 more weeks to grind out tombstones. So that's fun. Yep. I'm probably not going to grind them out purposely, but I have a bunch of them just from landing in the right dungeons and doing my PvP grind and things anyway. So, yeah, it's fun. I am slowly leveling my carpenter. Why is this a thing?
Why is this a thing?
I have one that is kind of a 2-in-1.
Okay, very exciting.
Because it's basically you basically need one to explain the second one, which is the one I care about.
I would not be surprised if we have the exact same thing.
We might. Go ahead.
Is it about Chris Pratt?
It is.
It's about Chris Pratt voicing Garfield, people being upset about it, and also the Devil May Cry director ensuring us that Dante is not being voiced by Chris Pratt.
That was everything I had, yes. Well then.
I got you, baby.
You got me. You got me. I also I didn't know there was a Devil May Cry thing going out.
Yeah. That's cool.
I'm into that because I like
also
Devil May Cry by the Castlevania guy.
Yeah. He seems really fucking cool. He seems like really down to earth. And he says naughty words and shit. I think I've seen a few interviews and stuff where he's just like I think it was the same guy. I think he was being interviewed about like doing like a Power Rangers short that was like gritty, but not like overly gritty. It was like cool gritty. Yeah,
I think he was the guy who did like the gritty Power Rangers. That does ring a bell.
Yeah. Seems like a cool guy.
I don't know. Anyway, that was all I had. So if you have different ones,
I have like one other one, which is that there was an accidental leak of an announcement of a game called Tetris the Grandmaster. I believe it's like Tetris the Grandmaster, like Home Edition or something.
Oh, okay.
It was kept under wraps really long, but unfortunately there was a leak because an executive went onto Twitter to apologize for not being able to announce the game sooner because of the delays. So that's how it got announced.
Oh.
By someone apologizing that he couldn't announce it yet. So
he still announced it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
This is a side one. I did just find one. I say just find one. This is not so much a why is this a thing, but just like an interesting side story that I saw earlier today that you've just reminded me of. Not science.
The science boys.
Side story.
Oh, whatever.
Do you recognize the name Gary Kasparov?
Oh yeah. Was it
So Gary
which one was
Kasparov,
it? The one where he is launching his own thing and was talking about Yoda, or the one where he was talking about he could be a pro at
the
Hearthstone?
Hearthstone one. So
The Hearthstone.
Gary Kasparov is a chess
Good chess boy.
grandmaster. This article says he may be the chess player in history. I don't know, but yeah, he's like really high ranked in Hearthstone. And he's Diamond 5 and says if he makes a push, he can probably make it to Legend rank.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's a thing.
it's nice that like he's branching out into all manner of strategy.
Yeah, I mean,
Games.
I figure going up against someone who is a legendary chess player in a strategy card game would be a terrifying thing, right? Because I mean, sure, they're very different games, but he has a mind that works for strategy and tactics.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you'd have to be kind of like a little bit analytical. Obviously, you'd have to like think a little bit differently because you don't exactly have like, oh, is that a pawn or is that a bishop? Hmm. Like
yeah,
it's
I'm looking at this interview with him to see if I can find out more about it. So that's a thing.
I think they were talking about
That's
him
like what he
because he's
plays.
launching like a new chess like education thingy.
He's doing he's got a masterclass on KasparovChess.com apparently.
Yeah,
He like teach how to do
which
that. And then they talked
isn't.
about he hates the rogue class in Hearthstone.
Oh,
He
okay.
he plays paladin. He plays
Oh,
Libram.
alright.
For those who know Hearthstone, and I will point out that I absolutely do not. He plays Libram Paladin or Taunt Druid. Those are his mains.
That's typical. Like I bet he is very much about like the lawful games. Like I bet he doesn't like even employ any of like the slingshot chess strategies, which I mean is very disappointing. Like you gotta expand past the rules. You gotta think outside the 8x8 box.
Sure, sure. He
Hey,
did.
what's that? Is that a bear? Oh, whoops! I guess your king's gone. That's mate in zero.
Yeah. He does say he tried Pirate Warrior, but he doesn't think it was. He doesn't think it's not good, but it didn't fit him.
Okay.
I don't know. It's the thing. Apparently, he played some Warcraft at some point too. So that's the thing. He's playing Blizzard games. Come on, man. Anyway,
Yeah.
I think that's us
To
for the
get
week.
into professional backgammon or something.
I want to see.
Backgammon
I want to see him play
esports.
League of Legends. Let's go. The look on your face.
I mean, there's also like I imagine that would be like different part of the brain, so it'd probably just.
I
like,
mean, it is a highly strategic game. It's just there's the action-ish part to it. You know what? Okay, put him
Yeah.
into like Total War.
I mean, that's just
This
like
is a chess
that's just
grandmaster.
chess, but less abstract and longer.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go. Total War. You know what? Age of Empires 4. Kasparov, I challenge you to a game of Age of Empires 4. I expect it will
Okay.
last 30 seconds because I am not good at Age of Empires.
I'll challenge you at I don't know,
Backgammon.
drop mix.
Yeah, there you go.
Drop mix, I have a chance.
So, if I wanted to have a chance, I'd challenge him to
I mean,
like
he
Dark
can't
Souls
practice
PvP.
because that game doesn't fucking exist anymore.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Even though I could just play Fuser.
Yeah. Where can people find you on the internet, Sammy?
You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at ShammyD, just SammyDWGE. Or you can check out my music Twitter, Pirate Music, PYYT_music. Check out my new album.
Excellent. And you can find me at my desk having a minor mental breakdown over my
Yay.
current overwork state, or on Twitter at Kalgar, Kalgar. Not that I've been super active there. I'm trying to disengage a little bit while I work on my mental health.
Wait until you're back getting your shit together, and then we can do It Takes Two together.
Yeah, I don't know when
bring
I'm
you
gonna
back
be.
over.
I don't know when I'm gonna be back on, but I suspect it may be timed with Elden Ring because that would be just a nice circle for me. Hopefully it doesn't take me that long to fix my brain. Anyways, collectively, Inconsolables AU on the Twitter.
Lifetime.
Check out the Patreon if you would like to support this stupidity. It has
We're
been...
gonna do a thing, maybe,
Yeah.
at some point, I guess.
It has been a minute since we've done extra content there. Apologies. We do plan on doing more in-depth content than we have in the past, which is why it's taking longer, as well as scheduling and mental health stuff. So
Yeah.
at the point, we've got plans. They're coming. They're coming. If if you want to support us in the meantime, feel
Got
free to
Nintendo
throw a dollar.
Direct React. Check that out.
That happened. Yeah. And drop us a review wherever you happen to be listening to this. Also, I forgot to put up last week's episode on YouTube. I'm going to fix that. That will be up this week. My bad, yo.
Oh my god.
And
I
guess
was just looking through like news shit, and this might be like a post, like bye everyone, run the music.
Okay, Sam did the whole thing. Okay, catches.
I just like was fucking looking through Feedly where like I get all my fucking game shit, and so apparently, and this is hot off the press for when we're recording this, that One Nation has launched a cartoon series. Please explain.
No.
And Pauline is voicing the character. She's becoming a voice actor. Good God.
No.
Good God. Please explain.
Why is Pauline a thing?
Let's have a... Oh, wait, this is an ad. Boring.
No.
Wait, should I could...
Don't pipe the audio through, but give me a live react.
Boo. Disabled screen sharing.
No, I didn't disable screen sharing. It's just I didn't enable screen sharing. Give me 2 seconds.
Well, it says that you disabled, so that sounds like a lie.
It defaults so only the host can. That's all. There you go. You should be good now. I can't hear it though. Yeah, there's actually no audio coming through.
Well, that's great, isn't it?
It means I don't have to hear her. Yeah, works for me. Who gave her a Shure? Microphone's too good for her.
Oh wow, what a bitch. She's like, no, that's actually how numbers work. Talking about like fucking like voting or some shit. Fucking shut your mouth.
Alright, I'm gonna cut off this recording here.
Yeah.